In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the things that you would need before we start working with Hibernate. The first of which is JDK or Java Development Kit. If you're able to write Java programs and run them comfortably, then that means you already have this installed in your computer. What you need to make sure though is that you have the latest one installed. And I believe since you're enthusiastic about learning Hibernate, I assume that you know how to install JDK or upgrade to latest version. And once you have this set, make sure that you have a database management system software installed in your computer. I'm going to be using PostgreSQL software. It is one of the most popular databases used along with Java applications. And if you want to follow along with me, you can install the same database, or if you're comfortable with any other database, you can use them as well. In this course, we're not really focused on database specific concepts. Rather, we would interact with Hibernate, and Hibernate is actually going to take care of interacting with the database. And that's the beauty of Hibernate. We developers don't have to interact with the database, but we would rather interact with Hibernate, and Hibernate will do the job for us. So for this course, it doesn't matter what database you use, but you need to make sure that you have some awareness of how database works, some of the basic SQL queries, joins, etc. That would be a great value add. And also you need to be aware of some of the basic queries like creating a database or using the connection parameters to connect to the database, etc. Because these are the stuff that are going to differ from database to database. So you just need to know those basics like connection parameters, being able to create a database using a command line or some kind of an administrative tool that is specific to your database, etc. And that would suffice. And the next thing that you need to make sure is that you have an IDE set up, integrated development environment, something like Eclipse or NetBeans. Now, if you've been working with real-world Java projects, then you probably know how to use Eclipse. And if you're not very familiar with Eclipse and you know how to use NetBeans or any other IDE, then I would recommend you to switch to Eclipse because it is the most popular IDE out there, and it has a lot of features that no other IDE can support. If not now, at least at a later point of time, you'll be forced to switch to Eclipse IDE because it's a wonderful tool. And let me tell you, no matter what IDE that you use, they all serve the same purpose of easing your development process. So even if you're using an IDE like NetBeans, it should be a very easy switch for you to download and install Eclipse and start using it. And this is the tool that I'm going to use throughout this course. So if you want to follow along, install Eclipse. It's pretty easy. And once you install it, just to make sure everything is working okay, just create a sample Java project with a sample Hello World application and then try to run it. Make sure it is working. And finally, you would need the Hibernate framework and a list of other related libraries. It's a lot of pain to manually download all these libraries and set up the environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a project management tool like Maven. Maven is the most project management tool out there to help you manage the dependencies, etc. This will make our job a lot easier. If you're not aware of Maven, you can still follow along and even work with the examples that I'm going to walk you through. Or alternatively, I have a great course on the same. Just drop me a message and I'll see if I can give you access to that course. And similarly, I have a course on PostgreSQL as well. It's a wonderful course. And that course not only talks about PostgreSQL specifically, but also it talks about pgadmin, SQL in general, and JDBC along with the mini project, which is basically a CRUD application. If you need access to that course, drop me a message. Let me see what we can do. Alright, once you have everything in place, I'm going to demonstrate the last step though, but just make sure that you have all these three set up and installed and make sure they are working. Alright, see you soon.